Welcome to Real Talk with your host, Chip Washington. It's Real Talk. It's Real Talk. It's Real Talk.
And here we go on this Monday. It is the 27th day of May, 2024, also known as Memorial Day 2024, 6 o'clock straight up. Glad to have you with us. It is time for Real Talk Memphis. I am your humble host. My name is Chip Washington. Glad to have you with us. And we hope that you have enjoyed your 3-day Memorial Day weekend. Of course, today is the day that we honor and commemorate those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice for the freedoms that we have today. So for all of you that this applies to in terms of a family member or a friend or a colleague, a happy Memorial Day to you. We will never, ever forget, and may their memories always be a blessing. Glad to have you with us tonight. We have a good show this evening. We're going to talk about a few issues, if you will, and I think we have a nice lineup to be able to do that. So we hope that you stick around. Now, for those of you who may not commit to memory as to how to get this fine piece of radio broadcasting, well, we're on the air right now, obviously live on 91.7. That would be WYXR on your FM dial. You can catch us there. You can also catch us on the WYXR app. We are on the TuneIn app. We are going to be live streaming tonight on Facebook Live, as we generally do when things work well. And, of course, when the show is posted in the next day or two, you can catch us on YouTube. And we are a podcast. Did you know we were a podcast? We are a podcast. And so you can catch us wherever it is you get your podcast. So, excuse me. Very happy to have you with us. Now, last time we were together about a week or so ago, I started not to feel well. We kind of made it through all of that. And as time moved on, I got progressively worse. This was a tough week for me, health-wise. I've been down for most of the week. Just now starting to come back around. If you're listening to me, you might hear my voice sounds a little bit different tonight, a little hoarse, a little raspy. I've been dealing with a lot of the respiratory stuff, and that affects every part of your body. I put a post, I created a post on Facebook that basically said, I'm sick. And if you guys would pray for me, I appreciate it. And so many folks did. And I want to tell you, if you are a listener of this show on a regular basis, and you did, offer up a prayer for my healing and feeling better, I appreciate you. I really do. Prayer does change things. And so many of you were kind enough to do that, so I want to say thank you. And like I said, as the old folks like to say, I'm coming back around this way. It takes a little bit. The older you get, and I had a birthday last week too, so the older you get, the longer it takes to get back to full strength. So I'm coming back around. And, we feel good about that. So there you go. In terms of the guest that we have tonight, we have County Commissioner Mickell Lowery is going to be joining us in a little bit. He's going to kind of catch us up on what is happening in the county, world of the county. They're in the midst of budget battles. They have a lot of issues that they're dealing with that we are going to catch up with him on and talk about. So we'll find that out. We'll find out some information from him in just a few minutes. Marilyn Rucker is an Alzheimer's and dementia advocate. And she and a partner of hers are hosting a seminar, a very special seminar for you to be aware of some of the issues surrounding dementia and Alzheimer's. That event comes up this Thursday night. It's a free event, and we're going to talk a little bit about that and just about, how Alzheimer's and dementia work hand in hand and how devastating it can be to family members and friends alike. And a little bit later on, we're going to be talking with State Representative Karen Kemper. Karen is joining us. Of course, the legislative session has ended, and she is going to host an event on February 8th, I believe. It is called Bringing the State to the City. So a lot of the functions that go on in the State House up there in Nashville, she is going to bring down here in a very special event at one of our local churches. So she's going to join us in a few minutes to talk a little bit about that, why she decided to do it, why it was important, for the local constituents to know exactly and understand that some of the services that are provided by the state, and she'll have some of those people available as well. So, yeah, a pretty good broadcast for you this evening. Beautiful day today. My temperature gauge said 90 degrees when I got in here today, so maybe we'll actually have hit that one. I hope that you survived the storm last night that moved through. Dropped quite a bit of rain, a lot of high winds and everything, and all that kind of good stuff. But I think we're here, and we made it to the other side. Want to formally welcome back Lola. Lola spent last several days in NYC. For the uninformed, that means New York City. And it's the city. I was told the city's not the same. She's left now, and they just have to just be left over. But she tells me she had an amazing. You had a good time, did you? She had an amazing time, absolutely amazing. And if you listen to her show right before we came on, she was playing that that Jay-Z song, right? The New York deal. So see, get that simile how that worked out. But anyway, she's back. She's safe. Brent is here as well, so we feel good about it. So this is the time of the broadcast where we celebrate you and your trip around the sun, your current trip around the sun. And if you were fortunate enough to be on that side of it, this segment is for you. But we can't get into it until I say hit it, Brent. So we have a few birthdays to celebrate, and I should say ahead of time, those of you who celebrated birthdays over the weekend, or you have some coming up, happy birthday to you. But today, happy birthday goes out to Dina Owens. It's her birthday today. Zendra Lockhart is celebrating her birthday today. DeVern, I want to make sure I get this name right here. Yes. It says DeVern, go back. DeVern Johnson celebrating her birthday today. Jeffrey Dow, Jeffrey DeWitt, happy birthday to you, sir. Jackie Nealon celebrating today. Former mayor of Bartlett, Mr. Keith McDonald, is celebrating his birthday today, as is Jacqueline Smith and Ann Lewis, all celebrating birthdays today. And ladies and gentlemen, the show wouldn't be complete unless Lola sauntered up to the microphone and gave her birthday wishes as well. Lola.
Happy birthday to my good friend Keisha Rayford and DJ Karen KP Plunkett Booker. Happy birthday, girl.
Happy birthday, young ladies. Yes. There you go. You got to have when DJ Lola shouts you out, everything is in good order. Congratulations to each and every one of you. I hope that today has been a day filled with fun and laughter. And we hope to be around with you next year to celebrate your next trip around the sun. Thank you, Brian. So, sad news in the world of sports today. We found out late this afternoon that Bill Walton, a great basketball player, UCLA standout back in the day, he died this afternoon at the age of 71. He has been suffering for a while now from cancer. And the big redhead, of course, has been an announcer on ESPN for the many years. Of course, he won a couple of championships in the NBA, two college championships with UCLA, where he played under the watchful eye of Coach John Wooden. So yeah, that's a big loss. He was a very funny and entertaining young man, and of course, like I said before, he passed away at the age of 71, and may his memory always be a blessing. So it's kind of going to be an interesting week. Now today, of course, is Memorial Day. It's a holiday for everybody, so a lot of folks are off, and I'm told that this particular year, last Friday, was the busiest travel day of the year on this Memorial Day weekend than we've seen since before the pandemic. I mean, there were like millions and millions of folks leaving either on trains, planes, or automobiles. Many of you are on your way back now from whence you went. I hope you had a great time. I hope you get back safely with no issues or anything else. because we all have to hit it again on tomorrow. So, again, a big travel day, of course, on Friday, and a big travel day for folks coming back tonight. So if you're driving, please be careful and watch out for the other guy, because they may not be watching out for you. This week, a couple of things of note that we might want to pay attention to. One, of course, the 4 officers who were accused in the killing of Tyree Nichols almost 2 years ago now are going to be back in court this week. Time just moves on and on and on and on with no cases involving all of these individuals, but they're going to be in court for an appearance later on this week. We will see how all of that shakes out. And on Friday, which I believe is the 31st, Shelby County Clerk Wanda Halbert is going to have a preliminary hearing to determine whether she will be ousted from her position as the county clerk. Of course, you know, we've gone back and forth many times about some of the issues that have gone on in reference to Wanda and that office. And of course, a formal petition was filed by the state of Tennessee wanting to remove her from her position. This is rather unprecedented because, she's an elected official, and she was reelected in 2022 to that seat. Now we have a situation where, depending on who says what and what happens here, she could be removed. I don't know when the last time something like this happened, but again, this is something that we don't see very often here. Wanda does have an attorney. They have petitioned to have the case dismissed. So they'll go to court on Friday and talk about all of this and see what happens next. Now, part of this petition that has been filed by the state is that she is suspended from her position until a decision as to whether she is formally ousted is complete. So that's almost one of those, to me, like, you want to add insult to injury. This is how you do it. You not only file a petition to have her removed, but now you want to suspend her in the midst of all of this before it's all said and done. So again, it bears watching to see what happens here. We are also in the middle of a couple of budget issues that should be concerning for all of us. Of course, the county is working on their budget, as well as the city. One of the proposals in terms of the city is by the mayor. He wants a 75% property tax increase, along with a waste disposal fee increase as well. That's going to be challenging for quite a few people out there. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. I do know that a couple of council members are proposing something different in reference to that. A lot of you have unpaid parking tickets. I'm pausing because if you heard what I just said and it's you, I'm talking about you. Well, they're looking at trying to go after folks who have unpaid parking tickets, and I mean to the point of millions of dollars, like millions and millions of dollars of unpaid parking fines running around out there. Is that you? Is that you? Think about it now. Think about it. Anyway, so that's one of the proposals that they want to try to see if they can enlist. Councilwoman Jerry Green is back behind that. So we'll see what happens. And there's also a conversation about the mayor wanting to reappoint interim chief C.J. Davis to a full-time position. They want to reinstate her. He wants to reinstate her. He wants her in that position. So we'll see how all of that moves. Probably won't hear anything until after budget session. So those are just a couple of news and notes on this Memorial Day Monday. We're going to take our first break, and when we come back, let's get into the broadcast. What do you say? Many of us have been touched by Alzheimer's or dementia with a family member or a friend. We're going to talk a little bit about that and a special seminar coming up in just a couple of days on this edition of Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest? Or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Support for WYXR comes from IREM Memphis, dedicated to advancing the knowledge and professionalism of real estate managers through education, networking, and advocacy. More information at irem-memphis.org.
Apoyo para WYXR proviene de Freedom Preparatory Academy. Desde el año 2009, Freedom Prep ha estado preparando a estudiantes desde prekinder hasta el 12º grado para tener éxito en la universidad y en la vida, con 5 escuelas en Westwood y Whitehaven. Ahora inscribiendo para el año escolar 2024-25. Más información sobre la inscripción en el sitio web freedomprep.org.
Support for WYXR comes from Team Clean. With more than 22 years of experience, Team Clean provides services for home, work, or studio space. Biodegradable cleaning products mixed with common sense and tailored to each client's needs. Estimates and information at weareteamclean.com.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Memorial Day Monday. Chip with you. And of course, as we talked about at the top, one of the things that many of us who may have dealt with at one point or another in our lives with a family member or a close friend or a colleague, and it seems as if we're seeing more and more cases of it, and what the it is I'm talking about is Alzheimer's and dementia. In order of what happens first and second, it's usually dementia, then followed by Alzheimer's. Well, this is something that is crippling for so many folks. Not only the individual who is dealing with it, but more importantly, the family members and other folks who are left to care for those individuals in question. Now, there's going to be a very special seminar that will be held this Thursday evening at 5:30 p.m. at the Benjamin Hooks Library. And there are a couple of folks will be there to facilitate and answer all the questions in reference to all of this. I'm happy to have one of them with me now. Her name is Marilyn Rucker. And Marilyn, it's great to see you. Welcome to Real Talk Memphis. How are you tonight?
Oh, great to see you, Chip. Thanks for having me this evening.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. So, we talked a little bit about all this. Dementia, Alzheimer's and dementia are two things when, you hear those words. For many of us, it brings, a lot of pain and it brings a lot of sadness. For many of us, in terms of our family members and those who may be affected by it. It basically takes, to me, a lifetime of memories that you may have acquired and basically erases them, from your mind. How prevalent, Marilyn, would you say dementia and Alzheimer's is these days?
Well, Chip, it is such a significant thing for me. I've been in the healthcare field for over 20 plus years, and I'm with Majestic Gardens at Memphis. So we decide to present a platform to help the community. And each year we do something a little different. Last year we talked about elder law, how to get your affairs in order as you grow older. But here I wanted to touch bases on dementia and Alzheimer's. It's all around us. It's no longer just the older generation, Chip. it's affecting the younger generation. It's affecting the baby boomers, and it has a lot to do now with lifestyle changes. So we want to touch bases to tell you what to look for, how to handle it. We want to give you resources, and it's not only hard on the patients themselves, but it's harder on the caregiver.
Yeah, absolutely that, and that's a very big thing when you find out, or when it has been determined that someone you care about does have dementia or Alzheimer's. I think one of the things that many people need to know and understand is if you're going to require the services of a caretaker, what you need to look for in a particular caretaker to be able to take care of your loved ones. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes, if you're going to be a caregiver or a caretaker, you will start to notice signs, especially if someone has lived independently. You may notice that bills are not being paid. Maybe they don't want to eat any longer. They don't want to change clothes. They don't want to bathe any longer. They have no desire to be around others. Sounds affect them at different stages. A touch, the way you touch them, even the tone of voice that you use can actually set them off if they're at another stage in this disease.
How do you know, in terms of all of that, what type of individual or the training of an individual, because you mentioned a lot of different signs there that a person who may be dealing with Alzheimer's or dementia may be going through. How do you know who to pick, Marilyn? I mean, how do you what type of qualifications should a person have, or does it depend on the particular symptom of the person that you're talking about here?
When they no longer can take care of themselves, Chip, when they no longer can handle their, we call them ADLs, that's activity of daily living. A lot of people, you will go into their homes and you're like, oh, they don't keep their house neat anymore. Well, it's not that they don't keep their home neat any longer. It's that they began to want to hold on to memories. So they began to collect things to just have a sense of holding on to things. You will also find that they may, as we grow older, we have a tendency to say, oh, where did I place my keys?
Right.
But the next year, you may drive and not actually be able to find your way back home. And you may have lived in this home over 20 plus years. It's a gradual disease, but it's important that you catch it in the beginning stages. And it's not only affecting the younger generation now, because it's induced by different alcohol, drugs.
Now let's talk about that for a minute, because you and I talked offline, and you mentioned that people as young as 40 years of age are now, doctors are finding that they are dealing with dementia issues as well, and Alzheimer's. And you're saying, again, this has a lot to do with, based on research, I would imagine, based on a lifestyle that individuals are dealing with. We're talking about alcohol, we're talking about drugs, what are we talking about exactly with that?
Yes, it's so true. A long time ago, they really did not have facts or research to prove that alcohol or drugs had anything to do. But now they have been able to find statistics to support that it is induced by alcohol. I don't know how many of your listeners have actually gone in and looked at the Wendy Williams life story.
Right. Oh, yeah.
It's indicated on there that she has a mild case of this disease, and it was induced by alcohol. So it's very interesting to just your past lifestyle also can, how you used to live can affect these things, because if you were a heavy drinker, you may have a liver disease or some other things that lead to strokes. And strokes also, many strokes, they are a cause of dementia as well.
Now, you, like so many people in this country, had to deal with this on a personal level. Your mother, you had to care for your mother who had Alzheimer's and dementia. And that really opened your eyes, I would imagine, and really changed your perspective on a lot of things. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes, Chip, my mom, she had dementia, and it later developed into Alzheimer's. Dementia actually just affects the frontal lobe part of the brain. But when we get into the Alzheimer's, it actually, it caused you not to be able to live alone anymore. You're no longer safe. You may not only to yourself, but others around you. It just depends on what stage you are at. But my mom, I noticed that she was forgetting a lot of things. Her bills were not being paid. She was ordering excessive amount of clothing, and she would just put them away. She would call me a different name, and I would, like, at first I would go against her. And then I said, there is something else going on. And it had become so heavy on me trying to make sound decisions for her to live I just say a stable life, where she would be safe, that I actually had to go and get classes and help myself in order to deal with it.
Now, you're having a very special seminar for folks this coming Thursday evening. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, this seminar is called Be Informed, and it's BEE. And taking the buzz out of healthcare, the myths, what you've heard, and just different things that you may have heard on the street. But we are going to have a platform with people that specialize in only behaviors, and dementia and Alzheimer's do fall under behaviors. This seminar is totally free. It will be at the Memphis Public Library, and that's the Benjamin L. Hook Library at 3030 Poplar Avenue, coming up this Thursday, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. And a lot of people in the community have heard of Lynn Doyle. She will be the speaker, and she will be answering questions as well as providing resources.
This is a very important event. It is something that you all have come up with to answer those difficult questions that people just don't understand. And again, we want to emphasize that it is free to the public. So all you need to do is take a little bit of time. If you have some questions that you really want answers to in reference to Alzheimer's and dementia, please go to this event. Marilyn Rucker, thank you, Marilyn, for coming on the show tonight. This is a very important issue that many of us don't talk about, but so many of us are dealing with, and it needs to be brought to the forefront. Thank you for what you're doing to be able to do that, and we wish you nothing but the best of success on Thursday night.
Thank you, Chip. Thanks for having me. And also, we will be touching bases on the financial part of this to assist you on how to go about paying and receiving financial assistance.
Wow, absolutely that. Marilyn, thank you again. I really appreciate you. Have a good evening. We'll talk to you again down the road. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
You too.
Bye.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Very important issue, very important topic of conversation in many households. And again, Thursday evening, 5:30 to 7:30 at the Benjamin Hooks Library, a seminar on Alzheimer's and dementia. We're going to take our break, and when we come back, we're going to continue on this Monday edition of Let's Talk About It on this Memorial Day Monday right here. This is the Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. You know who you are. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Programming on WYXR is brought to you by a grant from Arts Memphis, who has been working behind the scenes for 60 years to support and amplify arts events, programs, and experiences that together make a more vibrant and accessible Memphis arts scene.
Support for WYXR comes from IREM Memphis, dedicated to advancing the knowledge and professionalism of real estate managers through education, networking, and advocacy. More information at irem-memphis.org.
Church Health's Memphis Plan continues its decades-long commitment to serving local musicians with comprehensive health care and also tailors its focus to small business owners and the self-employed. Health care through the Memphis Plan provides care in Memphis for Memphians. Related services include preventative health, optometry, dental care, and more. More information regarding availability at memphisplan.org or at 901-272-PLAN.
Did you know when you purchase a specialty arts license plate, you're supporting the Tennessee Arts Commission and organizations like WYXR? It's easy. Just take your old plate to your county clerk and swap it out, or choose the arts plate when it's time for renewal. Show your love for WYXR and other Tennessee arts organizations by visiting tnspecialtyplates.org.
Connect with Memphis on WYXR. We offer sponsorship opportunities that expose your brand to our loyal listeners who value local arts, culture, and music. Support public radio and be part of our community. Explore more at wyxr.org/sponsorship.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening, on this Memorial Day Monday, and glad to have you with us. I'm sorry, I'm looking at a text. We have one of my other guests had said he was on for 10 minutes and had to log off. But maybe if he communicates with you, Brian, just let him know he can come on next. Okay, he'll be on next. But in the meantime, we do have our next guest with us. She is someone that all of us know. She has represented us in the State House in Nashville for many years now. She is a leader in the House up there. Of course, I'm speaking of State Representative Karen Kemper, and she joins us now. She's been on the show before, but she joins us again. Karen, it's great to see you. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good to see you too. I saw your thing saying you're sick. Is my volume down?
No, you're good. You're fine. You're perfect. You're good. You're good on this. On this end. Yeah. Well, yeah, I was, but I'm starting to come back around.
You're looking good.
Oh, I appreciate it. You can't get a close up, which is a good thing. I appreciate that. But thank you so much. But listen, glad to have you on the show. And of course, before we get into your event, your upcoming event, I want to talk a little bit about this legislative session that closed, and just to kind of get your take on some of the legislation that was passed that had a whole bunch of us shaking our heads and scratching our heads and wondering what the heck is going on up there with the Republicans. Just an overall assessment of this session just ended from you. What say you on that?
Thank you, and I appreciate your interest and your audience interest in learning more about what's going on in the State House. one of the things that I talked about constantly with my colleagues, particularly on the other side of the aisle, is they were showing this real move away from their own fundamental principles. For instance, local is best. Well, not really now. It's a lot of overreach. We're going to tell Memphis what to do. We're going to take this from Nashville. So it was a lot of taking back local power and authority we saw this year. You know, another principle that they kind of taught a lot is this less government. Well, you can see that government has grown tremendously. And even in this year in a down revenue, we still spent $52 billion. And so all of this talk about who they say they are, I kept seeing with some of the legislation they were proposing and passing that they were moving away from who they say they are. And that's troubling.
You know, it truly is. And kind of what you said, I think a lot of people feel, based on some of the legislative action that has taken place, that there is some type of negativity towards Memphis and Shelby County. I mean, it really seems like we have this big bullseye on us and everything that they can do to sort of take us off into a different direction. I mean, I was hoping, like many people were hoping, that gun control would have been a major part of this legislative session and really trying to address it. But we saw zero goose eggs in reference to this, and I know how passionate you are about this, and a lot of the Democratic colleagues of yours are. But there just was it just seemed like there was absolutely no interest, and more importantly than that, Karen, they were ignoring the will of the people. You had people in those chambers up there who were protesting and begging for something to happen. How do you feel about all that?
That was terribly disappointing because at the end, if you remember at the end of last session, when the Covenant shooting had taken place, and that same night we had the shooting out at Privé.
Right.
It was another mass shooting that exact same night.
That's right.
And how people were really hoping and expecting and, preparing for, an opportunity. I talk with my Republican colleagues, both the leader and the speaker and the Republican caucus chairman, say, hey, y'all got a good chance now. Let's do something about it. People's mind is ready, even the ones that, don't want, to fool with your guns, blah, blah, blah. You have an opportunity. They did not take advantage of it. What they said was, well, we'll come back in a special session. The governor's going to call a session. And we did, and still nothing was done. So we came back this year hoping that here's another opportunity. The pressure stayed on. The citizens showed up day in, day out. But I tell you, the Republican leadership did not want to move on it. They didn't even pass the stuff that the governor wanted. Even though, his 12 items in special session wasn't really momentous in a way, but there were good things in there that we could have came together in a bipartisan way and just didn't do it. So I attribute it to the current Republican leadership. And, based on whatever reason they believe they need to move in this direction, they have missed an opportunity to serve citizens in Tennessee and to really affect, gun violence in the state. We had one of the things that we had that a lot of people were talking about was the fact that there was an override from the State House of the local ordinances that were passed by our city council here in this city in reference to the Tyree Nichols situation in terms of these stops. That were happening here, and they basically overrode it and basically said, no, we're not going. There's not going to be any pretextual and any of that. All the things that, excuse me, once again, the people wanted, and the city council approved here in this city, were basically ignored. And I think a lot of folks are still very angry about what happened in terms of that. Right, and that's the thing. What I mean with this overreach. So if we don't like what you're doing, we're gonna override what you did. And the premise is local knows best. So if you're saying local knows best, and the citizens of Memphis have decided that this was best for them, then why would you decide to override it? Well, they did that, unfortunately. There was another bill that was very troubling for the Black community, where the county here locally, some of the commissioners was talking about doing a study on reparations and the impact that, and so it was a mere study to look at, hey, baby, it was a legislation up there that was very, it took a lot out of a lot of people to see the proposed language that would override and say, no, not only can you not do it, you won't do it. And if you do, you'll be penalized for doing it kind of mindset. It was just unreal. We were able to defeat that very late in the session. It was pushed to the end. They rolled all the Democrat bills. They weren't going to allow us to pass anything until the very end, you know, as a signal to us that we really are in control. And the point I kept trying to tell my Republican leaders is, look, man, you missing the opportunity yourself to do something about it.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was a trying time. We made it through. This thing about Memphis and the feeling that people have toward Memphis and Nashville is something, you know, we've been fighting for a long time. And slowly, you know, when you make these few steps forward, it looks like there's something that pushes us back. And I had a lot of hopes when Mayor Young was elected. Him an opportunity to say, hey, I'm moving this city forward. These are the things that I want to do. And then get our delegation, Shelby County delegation, which is the largest, most powerful delegation in Nashville.
Right.
Move his agenda forward. But no, they have a vision of what they want for Memphis. And so I'm still hopeful next year coming back in after he's got, you know, the mayor's got his 100 days under him. He's got his vision together. He got his plan together, and it's working, that he can have an agenda that we can go to Nashville and fight for Memphis.
So let me turn my attention to this event you have coming up here. This is a big deal that you have you come up with, basically bringing the state to the city. Tell our listeners about that.
So, you know, every year when we get done, we usually have a town hall meeting. We talk to people. They tell us what's on their mind. We say this is what happened. It's kind of a wrap up, kind of what we're doing here now. I thought we need to move away from that construct and start to bring the services to the people so people can understand what their government is supposed to be doing for them and can do for them. So the first one I did was December the 9th of last year, and it was a huge success, although it was the same day that storm came through the city and the parade was canceled. So a lot of people thought it was canceled, but it was a success. So I thought I need to do this at least twice a year. So I'm going to do another one in June. And so fortunately for me, you know, New Direction Christian Church stepped right up and said, we'd love to host it. So we're bringing over 25 state agencies here. Learn what they do, learn how to access grants. We always talk about state grants. Learn how to access those grants. Learn how these agencies work for you. Learn what benefits you are entitled to. Learn just what it is state government is designed to do for you, not just the legislative side. That is important. But all three branches need to come, and they are coming. So I'm really excited about it, man. I'm getting excited. The more I read and see every day, you know, people texting and emailing, it's really, I think people are happy to have an opportunity, and I think it's going to be great.
Why is this so important to you, and why is it so important, more importantly, to the people in this community to understand, you know, what exactly is happening up there? Because we're down here and we hear what is happening in the State House, but this gives you giving people a direct look and, more importantly, a touch feel process in terms of exactly some of the things that you all are doing up there. Correct?
Exactly. This is the thing I always say. Being a state legislator, it's a continuous education process. You run into people, they say, who are you? What do you do? What is that? So this is a way for people to learn. And I know it's been a lot of conversation about civics taken out of school and that is true. But here is an opportunity, and this is why it's important to me. One of the things I pride myself in my office is constituent services. If somebody called my office, we're going to take care of what you need. My office has become almost the office from across the state. If somebody, they say call Representative Campers, they'll get it done. Because it's about the people who we are all there serving. And so this is a way for people to get more educated on the process, on what they need, on what's available, what their tax dollars is actually paying for. So that's why it's so important to me, because I want people to learn more and do more about their government and learn more about what their government can do for them.
So give us the day and the time and once again, the location.
Thank you. The date is June the 8th. It is from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at New Direction Christian Church, 6120 Winchester Road. Over 25 agencies from the state will be here. If you have driver's license and you need to go, they'll be there doing it free. You need your real card? Yes, they'll be there. We're going to have Treasury there. We're going to have, and there's going to be another segment. Let me talk to you about this.
Yeah.
We partnered with General Sessions Court Clerk's Office. They're going to be doing some non-criminal expungements there. So another whole group of people that's going to be there for that. And so that's going to bring it up to about 40 different agencies there to help and serve the citizens of Memphis and Shelby County.
That's a big deal. That's a pretty big deal. By the way, you know, we're live streaming on Facebook, and your friend, the county commissioner, Erica Sugarman, is on here. She says, "Keep fighting." And then she asked me.
She's another one. She has tremendous constituent services, man.
Yeah.
She sends stuff all the time. Look, take care of this, leader. Yes, ma'am, I got you.
Yeah, absolutely that. You know, before I let you go, I want to. There's something else in reference to all of the things that were done up in Nashville this year. One in particular, maybe you can explain it to me because I still don't understand it. I call it the TSU takeover. You know, where they stripped that entire trustee board and replaced them with new folks up there because of some financial malfeasance and some other things. But how can we talk about that, Representative Camper, if we don't talk about the fact that the state of Tennessee, from what I'm to understand, owes TSU somewhere close to $2 billion? Please explain that to us.
So first off, it's two pots of money. Let me just explain this so people can get a fuller understanding.
Okay.
So with the task force that Representative Love was able to stand up and get done and look back over the history of TSU as a land grant college, the state owed $554 million to TSU. That's one pot of money.
Wow.
They given a little over half of that to TSU. Park that there for just a second, because that's the crux of the problem, the reason that you're talking about. The other part is the federal government also took a look at all HBCUs and said, okay, what has the federal government did that would have required state governments to match or to do the same, and how much was that? That's the $2.12 billion that you're talking about. So that's a different fight. That's still coming. This other fight that we still owe them, which I believe, which I have no doubt that they will get, since the task force has decided that it will go. But what happened was, once they got the money, well, first off, they wanted to tell them how to spend it, how to do this, all the strings, all the stuff that they don't like from the federal government, no strings, they want to put all these strings on it.
Yeah.
And the president was pushing back on that. It's like, well, this is money that is due to us based on A, B, C, and D. Allow us to manage and do. And so it was this tug of war really between the legislature and the presidency. And she stood strong and they stood strong. And they eventually just came to a head. And in the meantime, there were these audits that were done that were not favorable. They were not favorable. But there was no purpose, ill intent done either. But because it wasn't favorable, they used it as a way to say, oh, okay, well, we can restructure the board. The board sit back and let this happen. The board didn't rein her in. The board didn't do this. So that's how they was able to, work their way to say we need to disband this board. Now, there was negotiations that went on.
Right.
That, between the education commissioner and the education committee and the chairmen and all this, Leader Law was involved, Senator Agberry was involved, and there was a negotiated agreement on the board, who would stay, how would go, how many would stay, how many new ones, and that trust was broken somewhere, and that's what made them say, you know what, we're just going to pass a bill to just not options, put it that way. We also, at the same time, had to pass what's called the sunset bill, because if that bill didn't pass, TSU would have went away altogether. So that bill was up for a vote.
That's stunning, and
we had to pass it.
That's stunning.
It had to pass because if that bill didn't pass, the university would have went in wind down and would have been gone in a year. So we had to pass the bill. So now, because that bill was up for passage, was how they attached this in there with the board and this and that. And so all of that was amended, put in the bill, and they said, we're going to pass the bill. We're going to allow you to exist for however many more years. But, oh, by the way, you're going to also get rid of this board, and we're going to put in, new board members.
How troublesome.
The thing that people need to really understand is that bill had to pass for TSU to still be in existence.
We didn't know anything. That's the first I've heard about that.
Yeah, that was the sunset bill that was up. Yeah.
Wow. How troubling is it for you, and troubling is it really to a lot of people? Mississippi, the state of Mississippi, is making noise about closing 3 HBCUs there by either 25 or 26. Jackson State is one I heard. Mississippi Valley State is another one, and I can't remember the other one, but there were 3 HBCUs. Yeah, I think it was Alcorn. 3 HBCUs, they're threatening to close. And I don't understand what this is about, why it is happening. First we hear about TSU. Now we're looking at Mississippi funny and wondering, you're going to close Jackson State. What is behind all of this? And why are we trying to, it seems to me, destroy the HBCU legacy in this part of the country?
Well, I think it's a couple of things, and this can get political, okay?
Yeah.
First off, it's a sign of the times of where we are in America right now. Coming together with our racial background, our racial history, all the race-related things that has happened in this country.
Sure.
Okay. Obama was elected. Okay, we understand the backlash from that. Trump came in. We understand, hey, people got more votes. I think, one, it's a sign of the times of America coming face to face with itself about who we are versus who we actually are. I think that's going on. Secondly, President Obama and Biden made HBCUs a priority.
Right.
But Obama funded more money to HBCUs than all previous presidents combined.
Right.
History will reflect that. I'm not going to argue with anyone about that. History will show what he actually did.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to this president, he's made it a priority, and he's identified all this money that's due all of these universities that these states don't want to pay. They do not want to pay that money, and they don't want to pay it for a reason. Now, what the reason is in Mississippi and in Alabama and all these places, is particularly in the South. If you think back about one aspect of Brown versus Board of Education.
Right. Okay.
We talk a lot about the K-12, but we don't talk about what happened with universities. See, that was a part of it too. Access to higher education.
Sure.
So a lot of these, if you look at the belt, I'm gonna go back and look at it now. If you look at from Maryland, Virginia, all the way down in the South and all the way across to us, those are the HBCUs that's being attacked right now. And we just celebrated 60 years?
60 years, yeah. Well,
that's my take on it. I don't know, but I agree with you. It's something.
Yeah, it really is. Well, look, we need fighters like you to continue to fight. And I want to thank you for coming on the show tonight. Again, your event, Bringing the State to the City, will be on June the 8th.
June the 8th, 11 to 3 p.m.
At
New Direction Christian Church, State to the Streets.
State to the Streets. State Representative Karen Camper, it's great to see you. Thanks for coming on the show tonight. I appreciate you. You take care. Bye-bye.
Great programming, too. I love it.
Thank you. Appreciate that as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. State Representative Karen Camper. Yeah, and we talked about several subjects, but this State to the Streets thing that she's got coming on, this is a big deal because, again, there's a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of things we don't get, from what happens up in that State House. There's a lot of wackiness, and of course, all we see is some of the negative stuff that seems to affect us as a city and a county on a regular basis. But if she's going to have an expungement folks out there. She's going to have various services out there at the New Direction on June the 8th. Again, from 11 to 3 in the afternoon. Come out and ask questions, seek the services that are going to be provided, and hopefully that will be a very, very good piece of information for you. So that about wraps it up for us this week. As always, we appreciate you taking the time. I know tonight's crowd is going to be a little light because it is a holiday, and a lot of folks are out and about and doing their thing and queuing and enjoying each other, food, fun, and fellowship in the 9 yards. But we'll be back next week. same time, same station as Bryn plays us out. Really appreciate you supporting this show. More importantly, telling folks about what we do each and every Monday. I try to bring the people that can answer the questions that so many of us have about so many things. And if there is someone you would like me to get on this show, tell me who it is and tell me why you would want me to get them on the show. And you know me, I'll do my best to make that happen. So we're going to get out of here just a couple of minutes early tonight. But really, for all of us here at Real Talk Memphis, thank you so much for your support. So for DJ Lola, for Bryn, and for yours truly, getting a little bit better every day. I'll be back to my old, roaring self next Monday. Fingers crossed. In the meantime, be safe out there. If the Lord says so, I'll be back here next Monday. We'll try to do it all over again, just a little bit better. And for all of us here at Real Talk Memphis, I'm Chip, and we are out. We'll talk soon.